Hey, my name is Lord Puck, and this is my quick and dirty analysis of Bespin Fighter Squadron and any possible changes that have been made to Fighter Squadron since the Bespin DLC released earlier today. I managed to get in almost 3 hours of Fighter Squadron gameplay in both private matches and public multiplayer earlier today. Right now, you're watching some footage of me just flying around in a private match with a friend, testing the way the cloud cars maneuver, the firing, shields, and target jamming, and a few other things. At the moment, I'm about to crash here in just a second, just because I'm going to switch teams here shortly. But the fire rate is extremely odd. It has a pulse, just a boop, 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 boop pulse that does almost minimal damage to infantry and other starfighters. Its range is probably less than half of that of other starfighters when you use its lasers. Even with a lock-on, you have to be almost point blank if you want to do any damage. But therein is part of the problem. It does have the target jammer, but its health is very low. So in like Walker Assault or Supremacy or possibly Turning Point, that's going to hurt you. Fighter Squadron, it's not so bad because you have the target jamming that can help save you and your maneuverability. So that's kind of a trade-off in and of itself. But there are a few issues above and beyond those. The tracking for the cloud card doesn't like to stay on target sometimes. It's an older problem from earlier builds of Battlefront, apparently, where the basically dusting, where you lock onto your target and either your crosshairs are just ahead of the target or just behind the target or not fully on the target. You're shooting them and they don't really take any damage. The enemy doesn't take any damage. That's not a big deal in and of itself, but the Cloud Car also has an additional problem with its movement system. Yeah, it feels relatively nice in the turns, but its biggest drawbacks are when you go to pull back on the throttle. It gets kind of a stutter. As you hit the halfway mark, it kind of slows down in how slow you're trying to slow down. With the other fighters, when you hit back on that throttle, it's almost instantaneous slowdown with no stutter. When you hit back on the throttle with a cloud car, you will see that here in just a couple of moments. It kind of stops at the halfway point and then starts right there. You kind of saw it. You watch the throttle bar, and it's like it's trying to fill itself back up constantly, and it's fighting itself. That can be an issue when you're trying to maneuver or just get up on a target or slow down to get behind a target. You hit that stutter step combined with the short range, and it makes it very difficult to take out your enemies. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not wanting a buff specifically to the Cloud Car, but a buff to that particular aspect of it, the throttle. Right there, as it kind of bounces back and forth in its little, as you're trying to slow down, that stutter throttle. I don't know exactly what to call it. There are other issues with the new Fighter Squadron. Shields, a while back, DICE had fixed shields to where they would deplete per shot and or over time. Well, ever since the Bespin released earlier today, Cloud Car missiles, concussion missiles, do no damage to shields. TIE Fighter missiles no longer do any damage to shields. It's almost as though, I'm not sure if they made it like a damage reduction or an absorption shield or what, but when you put your shields on and shoot into a target, the shields don't take any damage. But then at the it seems like sometimes when you're not firing anymore, your shields will just break, and all of a sudden you'll take damage, even though no one else is shooting at you. So, and this is a big problem with all the Rebel ships, and the fact that the TIE fighters can no longer break Rebel shields.